Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
At Maconi Setup Shop, we offer custom-built setups for any asphalt oval car. Prices starting at just $5. Weekly setups available for all Legends, late models, modifieds, and NASCAR trucks, Xfinity, and Cup cars. Do you need one-on-one driver coaching? We've got you covered. Visit www.maconisetupshop.com and find yourself in Victory Lane. Maconi Setup Shop, handling all your setup needs so you don't have to.
As soon as cars were available to people decided they wanted to go fast. For over 100 years, humans have strapped aboard metal machines and run flat out against one another with hopes of victory. As such, not every motor racing venue could last through the evolving motorsport landscape for that stretch of time, and North Wilkesboro Speedway is a prime example of an amazing racetrack that got left in the past. Opening in 1947 and officially closing for the final time 9 days shy of its 54th birthday in 2011, North Wilkesboro was and is loved by many in the oval community, but a changing NASCAR landscape meant too many tracks, not enough dates, and a growing interest for going fast, really fast. That meant cookie-cutter displays of speed such as Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Texas Motor Speedway, Chicagoland Speedway, and more that took dates from storied tracks across the country, North Wilkesboro included. Thankfully, stemming from the almost unanimous love for the Speedway, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was able to save it virtually. In June 2020, iRacing.com members gained access to the storied facility on their home computers, and today we join you from the virtual North Wilkesboro Speedway for the first time on Pit Stop TV. Welcome race fans to Pit Stop TV. As usual, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter tonight. Emerson Arden joins me in the booth. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV, and we have Noah Carmichael on social media this evening. And this is Pit Stop TV's live coverage of the Maconi Setup Shop Fall Brawl at North Wilkesboro Speedway. We join you tonight from the virtual Wilkes County, North Carolina, for the second round of the Fall Brawl. And Emerson, what a week one was. South Boston up in South Boston, Virginia, up in Halifax County. It was a lot of fun seeing these guys go around that 4/10 mile bull ring. This evening, though, a little bit longer, 5/8 of a mile, a little bit wider, and a whole lot more difficult, I think, actually. You're going up a hill into turns 3 and 4, back down that hill for turns 1 and 2, and it's just an interesting, a difficult racetrack to get around in general, but it makes the racing so good.
Yeah, I mean, last week was absolutely insane at that little flat South Boston Speedway, man. It was wicked down there. I mean, close quarter racing with these Legends cars, and of course the super lates that followed. That was all intense. Here, yeah, North Wilkesboro, the banking, man, it's something. 14 degrees of banking in the corners, and still even 3 degrees of banking on the straights. It's gonna be a fun tonight to watch these little Legend cars, see how they can grip that low lane. I see that's what most of them are running here in practice.
Yeah, this place it's interesting because you can run right down on the bottom, you can run a little bit higher. I don't think you can run way up towards the wall, but I mean, you can see even from this blimp shot, the groove really isn't totally right down to the bottom, and that's because, especially down in 1 and 2, that very bottom lane is actually part of pit exit. In 3 and 4, you can get a little bit closer to that grass, but you really do run just a little bit up off of that very bottom, at least through 1 and 2, even through 3 and 4, it feels like. One of the interesting things about this place, like I mentioned, you go up a hill for turns 3 and 4, so that means that you can actually slow down a bit easier. You can drive it in a little bit harder and actually get to somebody a whole lot easier for a last lap pass, a last corner pass, than maybe if you were going into turns 1 and 2, where you're going downhill and the track kind of falls away from you as you fall into the banking there. We do have some points to look over after the first round at South Boston last week, Emerson, and it's interesting. It's all very tight, all separated by just 1 point per position, a much more comprehensive, a much better point system this season as opposed to the summer tour, and this is going to bring a whole lot better points battles to the series. It is worth mentioning, though, Brandon Holtzclaw, our winner from South Boston, is not in attendance this evening. He is working, and I believe he works as a volunteer firefighter as well, so thank you for what he does, Brandon Holtzclaw, but that's going to change things up here at the top of the points.
Yeah, it will, as the checkered flag on the practice session has just flown. But looking at these points, yeah, you don't need a calculator this season to necessarily calculate where your favorite driver or where yourself are, if you're watching this back, where you're running in the points. Daniel Hendry should be quite the story tonight. Of course, he dominated both races last week at South Boston, and he's right up there in the practice boards.
Yeah, Daniel Hindre is the talk of the town here in the Maconi Setup Shop Fall Brawl, and we're looking for him to continue his good run from South Boston Speedway 1 week ago. Qualifying is just opening up for these drivers, Emerson, and I can't wait to see how they do. We'll wait for some cars to get on the racetrack. Looks like we have a few now. Brady Campbell is out there. We'll see how the driver of the number 16 does. He's up there actually in the point standing, so it's important to watch this yellow and black 1-6. Hopefully get a good qualifying time for his Steel Legends car. Some other drivers to watch out for would be actually Luke Brown, Cody Moorcroft, Tyler Payne, of course, Matthew Kopp, Eric Steele, Jeffrey Maconi, Kyle Fowler, David Pohl, and some others. Keep those names in mind. I know I just rattled off a few of them, though. Jeffrey Maconi does go fastest that first lap, and it's also worth mentioning, Emerson Arden, that these guys are driving on Maconi Setup Shop setups this season. They're not just on the iRacing fixed or anything like that. These are tailored to good short track racing by Jeffrey Maconi and the rest of the team over at Maconi Setup Shop.
I think that played a big part in why it was such close and such great racing last week, as the drivers really understood the setup and were able to do so much with their cars, be it these Legends or the Super Lates. And it's going to be interesting to see, qualifying. There's a reason why they were so close in practice. We'll see if that is replicated in qualifying. Looks like the margin's a little bit more spread, but again, you only have 2 laps to get it right.
So currently, if you're wondering, Jeffrey Maconi hangs on to the pole position for now. We'll walk down, of course, the entire grid here shortly when qualifying wraps up. Right now, though, 3 minutes or so left. Eric Ward in second place, about 0.03 of a second off of Jeffrey Maconi. Luke Brown, I told you to watch out for him. He sits third. Dennis Warrens is fourth. Joseph Ralph in fifth. Matthew Kopp, another driver to watch out for, in sixth spot right now. Steve Mullins in seventh. Brady Campbell in eighth position. Gregory Moon in ninth, and finally, to round out the top 10 currently is Eric Sellers, but we've only had 14 cars take a time, and we still have, I'm trying to count, I think 9 left. Well, one of them just took another time, so actually 7 cars left to take a time this evening. Looks like we're going to have a 22-car field. Now, after last week at South Boston, it was announced that if we have more than 24 cars on any track a half mile or larger, or 20 cars on any track under a half a mile, that we would be doing some heat racing. Of course, in a field with only 22 cars rather, that's under that limit for a track like North Wilkesboro that is 5/8 of a mile over a half mile. So we're not doing the heat racing as Tyler Payne goes on pole, which means we're just having a normal condensed run of the mill, if you will, and we're just going right into this 30-lap race here in just a little while after this qualifying session, of which we have 1 minute and 45 seconds left.
Daniel Hindre now takes to the track as Tyler Payne just went quickest there, 2/100ths faster than Jeffrey Maconi. We'll see where Hindre ends up on the board, and you have to think, I mean, if we were able to get, that 25th car in, 3 more cars, man, we could see some more exciting racing tonight. But it is what it is. We're living it up, and these 22 cars are definitely going to put on a show for these next 30 or so laps.
So we'll take you around North Wilkesboro with Daniel Hindre, the late model winner from last week and the Legends runner-up. He exits turn number 4 as David Pollins goes to the top spot. Looks like Hindre might have caught the fence just a little bit. His first lap goes invalidated, but it would have been a 20.56, which would have been good for second place no, my bad. It would have been good for fourth position if it had stood, which is still a darn good time. We'll see how he fares out of turn number 4 this time to complete lap number 2 of his run, and Daniel Hindre will go. We're waiting for it. Looks like, wow, 7th quick, and that's going to hit hard for the driver of the 71.
Yeah, I can't believe he anticipated that that's where he was going to end up on the qualifying chart, but nonetheless, I mean, he showed he had speed last week. If he's got the car tonight, he's going to have no problem moving up 6 spots.
We'll now go on board with none other than David Trumley, who currently sits 12th. And Right now, Emerson, he's just racking off some laps, just trying to keep practicing here at North Wilkesboro. You can see the hill that I mentioned down the front stretch. You are literally going down, and then you go up the back stretch because you literally go back up that same hill. And it's certainly one of the more unique features here at North Wilkesboro. Throws these drivers for a bit of a loop as each end of the track is just a little bit different. But that will do it for qualifying. What do you say we walk down the grid?
I say let's do it. Yep. So we got row number 1 here, and of course David Polans ended up taking that pole time of a 20.477. To his outside pole, it'll be Tyler Payne. Fall back to row number 2, Jeff Maconi and Eric Warden. Row number 3, we have Luke Brown and Dennis Warrens. Row number 4, Daniel Hendre, Kyle Fowler. Fall back to row number 5, Joseph Ralph and Eric Steele.
Rolling off 11th for our Legends portion of the evening is Matthew Kopp in the number 22. Told you to watch out for him as well. David Trumley will roll off 12th position. In 13th spot, it's Steve Mullins. To his outside, Brady Campbell. In row number 8, Kevin Blackburn, Gregory Moon. Row number 9, it's Eric Sellers, Jeffrey Brian Wallace. Finally, to round out your top 20, it's going to be William Klingbeil and Lee Brumagian. We'll figure it out. And finally, the back row of the field, it's Matthew Lee and Cody Moorcroft. Neither of those drivers, to my knowledge, taking a lap time in our qualifying session. So, Emerson, it's all set up. We've got our first race at North Wilkesboro here on Pit Stop TV. It's actually kind of surreal. Not totally sure that I expected to be broadcasting North Wilkesboro Speedway when I first started Pit Stop TV, but here we are. And we're about to go green.
Yeah, I mean, this speedway, it's meant so much for, for motorsports in general, especially here, with NASCAR, and it hosted, I believe, street stock races towards the later part of its lifespan, if you will. And it's just meant so much. And when it came to the service, I mean, the response it got was insane. I mean, the amount of hosted sessions that were up with this car, and NASCAR Legends came out. It was just so hyped up. And I honestly, I'm a little shocked it took this long for us to get a broadcast in North Wilkesboro going. But here we are. Tyler Payne is already to the back of that iRacing.com Chevrolet Silverado pace truck.
So as they all roll off of the start-finish line, front stretch rather, here at North Wilkesboro again, we thank you all for joining us this evening. It's our first show at Wilkesboro, and everybody loves this place just about. I mean, it's a special one. In fact, actually, we just saw something. They do the balloons. They release the balloons down on the front stretch. Let's see if we have a better shot of that, possibly. I don't know if we actually do. I totally forgot that was a feature, and I didn't even think about it when I set up all these cameras earlier on today. But you can kind of see the balloons there in the center. We'll see if we can't zoom in on those a little bit. Well, it's looking like it's not going to let me, but regardless, they are releasing balloons down there in the infield, and we'll get ready to go for 30 laps this evening for the Legends portion of our show. We have Super Late models in just a little while. They'll run 75 laps, and that's certainly going to be a treat. The run at Sobo last week was interesting, we'll say that. Some cautions definitely impacted the outcome of that race, but these Legends, they had great racing last week. They'll have some great racing tonight, I'm sure. The summer tour was amazing, and finally we're ready to kick off round number 2 of the Maconi Setup Fall Brawl, rather. And across the start-finish line they go, and David Polans, Tyler Payne on the front row.
And caution already on the Speedway favorite in the back of the pack. Tyler Payne had a great start, and oh no, it's Gregory Moon.
They barely, I don't think they even got to turn 1 before the yellow lights were displayed at the top left corner of our screen. So we'll go ahead and watch. Of course, we'll watch to find out what happens here, but either somebody went left or the other person went right. I guess we'll find out here in a moment, but it's going to involve Gregory Moon and I believe possibly Jeffrey Wallace, rather. And,
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. It looks like he just tried to get a run on the outside, try to pick up a spot, or at least have the advantage heading into turn 1. And unfortunately, Gregory Moon didn't fare well out of that.
Well, you know what they say. You can't win the race on lap 1 in turn 1, but you sure can lose it, and the race was just lost for Gregory Moon, but it's not even his fault. I will go as far as to say that is on Jeffrey Bryan Wallace. I mean, he made the move that he did not need to make this move on lap 1, not even at the start-finish line, and he's going to the outside. I get trying to take advantage of the restart, or the start in this case, but you just don't need to. It's lap 1 to 30.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know what to say. I personally I dislike the fact that iRacing kind of allows drivers to go to the outside on the restarts, because it can do something like this. On the initial start of the race, we already have one driver without or losing their chance to win based on just somebody wanting to get jump the gun a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, again, I understand wanting to get everything you can on a restart, or in this case, the start of the race, but you've got to show a little bit of patience sometimes, even in those moves, because that's what happens if you don't. And again, we all hear you can't win the race turn 1, lap 1, but you sure can lose it there. And they weren't even to the start-finish line before they made contact. And I mean, you can argue that Gregory Moon could have left room up there, and he probably did fade up a little bit, but he probably hadn't heard car outside yet, because the bumper bars were just barely overlapping at that point. And it's so tough to know sometimes when you're just trying to get into a rhythm. You're not thinking that you're going to get turned on the start lap before you even get to the start finish line. So I will definitely say that I think lap 1, you just got to sit there and you just got to wait.
Yeah, I have to say, as the lights are off on that iRacing.com pace truck, I have to say I hope drivers, especially who are able to see what happened, kind of learn their lesson, at least, for the rest of this race, at least this ensuing restart, to maybe not be so aggressive. I don't think we've even started the first lap yet, because it still shows lap 1. We'll see if it still counts as lap 1, or we'll show lap 2 as we cross the start-finish line. I'm not entirely sure how that works.
Coming to the restart, David Poland's back in control. He never really lost control. Tyler Payne to his outside. And we will take lap number 2 of 30. And we're back green flag racing then at North Wilkesboro. This time we get through a couple of corners. We're racing to turn 3.
Yeah, how about Tyler Payne? He had, he crossed over to the inside of Poland's there into 1 and 2, and they're wrecking in the back. Big wreck in turn 4.
And they're still wrecking here. We've got more carnage down the front stretch. And, man, not the start that we wanted to our first broadcast here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. We will, of course, try and figure out exactly what happened here. We got some cars stopped, and let's take another look at what happens.
Yeah, I think they were... It's just kind of a product of racing at North Wilkesboro. That turn 3 and 4 banking, it's just, it's different. It really will throw that car around. Like you said, it kind of is. You're kind of going up a hill, so you think you can carry more speed.
And I see what happens in it. We talked up Daniel Hindre, and that's the cause of this second caution flag on the evening. We will go ahead and show this a couple more times, because Daniel Hindre down to the bottom side, he follows Luke Brown down into the corner. He's got the 21 looking to his inside. He clips the inside and then starts to go up the racetrack. He clipped that little bit of curving, the grass down there, collects the 90, the 32. That's a pretty tame accident, though. And then somebody comes flying in. That was the 83 of William Klingbeil. But the 5 of Luke Brown goes around later on out of turn number 4. We'll see what happens here. And that was the 21 car of, I'm trying to get back to it, Kyle Fowler on the bottom side. They keep racing, and then Luke Brown just goes around all on his own, and there's even more contact further back. I mean, that was just not a pretty turns 3 and 4 at all.
Yeah, we said it again at the beginning of the broadcast. You're kind of going uphill. So I think carrying more speed into that corner, you think you can carry more speed. I don't know if the tires were warmed up, if they really have to be warmed up with how small they are. But there was like 2 or 3 different accidents in that accident there.
Yeah, I think the total was 3, maybe a 4th, if you want to count Klingbeil piling into that wreck after the fact up there on the outside of turn number 2. Turn number 4, rather. But, yeah, I think that would be about 4 different incidents, all in the span of 2 corners. But you know what? let's make a bright point out of this second caution flag in as many laps. Let's talk a little bit about Tucson Sound Art. I want to give a special thanks to Tucson Sound Art and a special spotlight to them because they actually didn't ask for this, didn't need them to by any means, but they actually sent a sample over of their product with a picture of the winning car from Charlotte Motor Speedway in the Lucky Dog Racing League from David Levine Racing and us celebrating, and it made my day. I think it's the coolest thing I own now. I was listening to music on it literally for hours on end once I hung it on the wall. This is genuinely one of the coolest products I've ever seen in my life, and now the coolest thing I own. If you haven't checked out Tucson Sound Art yet, please do so. We'll talk about them some more later on, though, as we come to the restart to get things going for the third time on lap number 3.
It looked like there, Poland's got an amazing start, but Tyler Payne was not too far behind. And how about that 24? That is Jeff Maconi working his way up into the second position. As no, Tyler Payne will rocket around the outside of the turn 3. He's got more banking on his side. Can he carry the momentum off the corner? Maconi loose off of turn 4.
Maconi hangs on to it. They rip by the speed shot there down the front stretch. Poland hangs on to the lead for now. Payne second place. And look at that. Newcomer to the top 3. It's Kyle Fowler in third. He brings Eric Warden into fourth. Maconi slips back to fifth. Eric Steele's sixth. And this top 2 starts to drive away from Kyle Fowler and the rest of the field just a little bit. David Poland's, he's looking just as good as he did at South Boston, if not better. We'll hope that he doesn't get loose out of turn 4 this time and take out Kyle Fowler.
Oof. Tyler Payne, man, he is hounding that 33. He is flying around here. He had the fastest lap last lap. I believe it was a 20.625. He is absolutely killing it. But here comes David Poland. He pulls that time, and he sets the fastest lap. So shots right back at each other, if you will.
These drivers going purple one after the other. We'll see if one of them goes faster this time by. Poland set a 20.516. And let's see, Payne's fastest actually goes faster, a 20.530. So not faster than Poland's, but faster than his previous lap record. We'll look around the rest of the field a little bit. They're battling way further back here. A lot of battles going on across the racetrack. This one we're looking at is with Daniel Hindre and William Klingsbell. A little ways forward, actually, you see that gaggle of cars right in front of Hindre, and that's the 99 that he's going by. And that is Steve Mullins, David Trumley in there as well.
Yeah, back here in the middle of the pack, they're finally getting to a rhythm here. So I think it'll be safe to say that these guys are learning turns 3 and 4 a little bit every passing lap. And whoa, that was actually close there with the 96 of David Tremblay. And I could not tell who was to his inside, but that was close out of turn 4. There's caution on the speedway.
And I think it's up ahead possibly as Maconi went purple that lap. I'm trying to find the cause for the yellow, and I think this is it right here. Eric Sellers. So this is actually in the back of the field. And out of turn number 4, he just gets loose and, hard into the inside wall, rather. And just slow on the front stretch, draws the yellow as cars came by. That was Luke Brown that went on by. It is worth mentioning that while we were covering that action, Jeffrey Maconi had just passed for 4th place. So he got by, I believe, Eric Warden. We'll see how it happened. And, it actually had happened a couple of laps prior. So this is him going by Warden down the backstretch. And Jeffrey Maconi picking up that 4th spot, moving up just 1. But that's 1 closer to that win.
Yeah, back to the incident of Eric Sellers, and that is just so easy to do off of turn 4. These cars, they don't have any downforce. You're kind of just relying on all that mechanical grip, and kind of lost it all there. I think he got a little too low out of 4. I'm not entirely sure if that was the case, but it is just so easy to lose the car off of turn 4. Working lap 9 of 30 here. Poland's, Payne, Fowler, Maconi, Warden, the top 5. We'll see what happens here as we look to complete the first third of the race here at North Wilkesboro.
And I'll go ahead and talk about Tucson Sound Art just a little bit more. Of course, the plug we always read off is your picture, your music. But what does that mean? Well, simply that you can take any big moments of your life. In this case, it was David Leeton Racing, Pit Stop TV, Whiplash Media winning at Charlotte, and putting it on a beautiful framed, high-quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. It's really easy to connect. It provides you with a packet of all the details that you may possibly need. It is a bit of a different process usually, from usual to connect your device, whatever it may be, to the speaker, but it's still real easy to do. Just click a few buttons and follow their directions, and it'll connect real easy. There's even sounds to make sure that you know that it's connected. With SoundArt, you get the best of both worlds. Visit TucsonSoundArt.com for additional info. This one, it's not very large. They just sent it out as a sample, and I'm definitely going to have to buy a larger one, I think, at some point. You can plug it in to charge it up, and it has that battery, I suppose, that will keep it running. You can also buy your own batteries for it. You can they provide you with a charger cable, but I think you can use a different one if that's what you prefer. It's just a really cool product. Again, I think it's the coolest thing I now own, and there's a few different things I own. I'm not going to try and toot my own horn about anything, but I mean, this is just, it's just so cool to look up there and see that moment. And it's always going to be there on my wall now, and I can play music from it. And that's just the added bonus. I think it's just a really cool way to frame something really cool that happened in your life. And the added bonus is that you get to listen to music from it. So I just wanted to thank Robert Pattengale over there again. And it's the coolest thing. Emerson, I know I sent you guys a picture of it. It's so cool. But we will go back green flag racing here. Fowler gives a big shot in the shorts to Pollins to get him going. And that actually upset, I think, the 33 car for a half a moment. But he got going, and it helped him, I think, because Fowler now down to the inside of Payne. And that's going to give Pollins a big gap.
Yeah, nearly 3 wide for second. Maconi kind of backs out of that. Lets Payne and Fowler duke it out. Yeah, I can't say Pollins will be too angry. There's another caution on the speedway. Big accident there, and I believe turn 4.
Big junk this time. This is the biggest one that I think we've seen, save the couple of incidents that happened at the start of the South Boston race. Oh, there it is. We kind of joined in late to that, so we'll see what happens here once more, but it's going to involve the 16 and the 44 cars, so we will try and find them. Brady Campbell, the 16, the 44, Eric Warden, and Warden just got a slow restart. Campbell trying to go to the bottom side, and this is where the contact is made, and that's tough to say. Warden, I think, was just trying to get down to the bottom. Maybe didn't realize that Campbell had gotten to the inside, but quite simply and obviously because they wrecked, Campbell was down there.
Yeah, that's such a tough entry there. I mean, he was ever so close to the left rear quarter panel. I don't even know if the spotter really called that out, the iRacing spotter. I don't know about, setting it in there 3 wide. I get, needing to make up the spots you can. Looks like that code maybe helped that a little bit as well, but I don't know. That's a tough situation there, and it was right in the middle of the field, towards the front end of the middle of the field, if you would say, and that took out a lot of cars.
So there's Campbell's lunge and entry. So at the turn-in point, he wasn't there. He got there though. That's kind of just short track racing because you feel like as a driver you're entitled to that spot. You're not really entitled to it. It's heads up racing at that point, and unfortunately Warden had already turned in. If you're going to blame one of these two drivers, definitely I think Campbell, because he's making that lunge for that position, but it's easy to see why he did. He gets this run and he's almost there, and then he kind of just goes in a little bit deeper. I think he was going to make the corner totally fine. You see a big wreck afterwards, Hindray involved and several others. And this is a big smash him up here in turn 4. Matthew Kopp involved. The 90 car, got to remind myself of who that is. The 90 is Dennis Warrens. He's up there in the points. A lot of good cars involved. I saw Matthew Kopp and more. Just big one in turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, I'm starting to think, are we going to have enough cars to finish? That took out about 5 or 6. Now, I'm not sure if all of the cars involved in that will be out of the race, but a couple went upside down and they'll need to tow, and a couple more had some big damage. So, I mean, everybody up front is playing nice. That's all I can really say at the moment.
Yeah, certainly these guys understanding that they need to go. They want to go get positions, but you got to have a lot of patience. We're only on lap 10 of 30, Emerson, and these guys still have a lot of racing to go by these standards. We are getting close, actually, to an hour mark of the session being open, so this race is actually going a lot longer than I think South Boston to this point, and South Boston actually had its own share of yellows. Regardless, coming to the green flag, and we are racing at the North Wilkesboro. A bit of a block there from Fowler to Steele, but they race into one regardless.
Yes, Steele, I think, had an amazing restart, but Fowler negating all of that momentum. Steele was ready to pounce. Payne looks to clear Fowler into turn 3. Now they go nose to tail. That's so tight. Maconi sends it up the outside.
Out of turn 4 they go. They get single file back out for now. Fowler's looking to the inside of Payne, though, and he's going to go for that move. That bottom side, a little bit less banking, actually. The interestingly progressive banking here at North Wilkesboro really promotes that outside line to do pretty darn good, just like South Boston, where you can hook that apron, and it's technically the bottom side, but it actually ends up being a bit slower. Regardless, to complete lap number 12, Poland still leads over Payne, Fowler, Maconi, and now Eric Steele in 5th place. In this top 5 has separated itself from the rest of the field.
I should say top 5 breakaway. Maconi, big moment there off of turn 2. He holds on, but I believe he's going to lose that spot to Eric Steele. They're going toe-to-toe now out of turn number 4. Steele around the outside, but Maconi fights back.
Trumley's up into 6 to see him further back, but right now this top 3 is getting ready to go at it, and we're going to keep watching that battle in the background. Maconi real sideways out of the corner, and he's going to lose 4th spot, fall back into 5th by a bit of a margin, so Fowler now takes all of our attention as he's all over the back end of Tyler Payne, and almost the outside wall, just kissing the Holly Farms logo up out of turn 4, and he gets back into a groove trying to hunt down the 18.
Well, they may be up front, but I think that there's another caution on the speedway. 2 cars up against the outside wall. I believe that's turn 2.
And we do have that yellow flag holding things up here. We'll see what happens with Kevin Blackburn and company. It looks like, contact with Ralph. So that was Klingsbell getting, is that Joseph Ralph in the 35 car? It should be, I believe, based on last season. It is Joseph Ralph in the 35, sending him around, and Blackburn just had nowhere to go. Let's watch that another time.
Yeah, it's tough. I think Netcode got it again. Yeah, Blackburn, that's who I feel most for. He just an innocent bystander, but that's short track racing, unfortunately.
And so we now turn our attention back to the front of the field, and man, we were definitely hoping for some more green flag racing. We're coming up to about halfway, and the race timer is actually showing about, oh, never mind, that is, I think, the guesstimated time, about 5 minutes if we can go green flag. But, of course, we've got to get green flag racing to get there. And so far in this evening, North Wilkesboro not playing nice to these drivers, although I think really it is the drivers not playing nice with one another. Just close quarter racing, and this is one of the larger tracks that you'll ever see Legends cars at, which I think is playing into part of it. But, man, these guys really getting into one another this evening.
Another thing, Maconi, man, he has been letting it rip off a turn 2. I think he's been catching that grass with the left rear tire, and it's sending it sideways. And I can't necessarily blame him. I'm not entirely sure if it's similar to like a NASCAR quad oval effect, how you want to kind of clip the grass with your left sides, except you really don't want to clip the grass with your left sides here.
No, you definitely don't. That grass is deathly just about on the inside of the racetrack. Hate to share my own experiences, but having run here recently in the NASCAR 87 cars, oh boy, you better not clip that grass. You will go for a spin. It's real tough to recover too, especially in those cars, but also in these Legends and in the late models that we'll have soon. Although the late models actually are pretty recoverable, I should say. Took some practice laps here, and that was pretty fun in those super late models, so I'm excited for that race here in a little while. I think they'll be able to beat and bang without tearing too much up. coming to the green flag next time, it looks like these guys getting ready to double up. And I don't think even that single file restarts would help this case. So I think that's the move, or I guess the reason behind the move not to take single file restarts yet.
Yeah, and at this point, we have about only half the field remaining. So, I mean, if it was single file, I don't see too much of a point to it. Actually, no, there's more than that. But I guess in competition for the win, I would say, to correct myself. But we are getting ready to go. We saw a Fowler being very aggressive on that restart, both in front and behind bat number 21. So we'll see how he plays with everyone here on the restart.
Green flag is in the hands of Barnyard Flagman. There he goes. He waves that green flag as they go racing across the start-finish line, and we're back at it here at North Wilkesboro. They race through 1 and 2. Fowler all over Polans, and suddenly this top 5 is not clear the field at all. Fowler down to the inside, makes a big move to the inside of David Polans. Can he defend? Out of turn number 4, Fowler with the move for the lead.
It's not over yet. Poland's is going to fight back hard, but Fowler's got that preferred line into 1 and 2. Can he clear him on exit? Here comes Payne up to second.
And Payne is going to play spoiler. I think Polans could have defended, but Payne got in there and made Polans check his steering just the tiniest bit. That blows this battle apart, and I think Polans is written out of the race win now. Fowler just looks so good in that 21 car.
Yeah, and I think rightfully so. He's been aggressive the past couple of restarts. And here goes Tyler Payne to try to put an end to that. Will he send it into turn 3? He does. The 21 leaving him just enough space. He clips the grass, Tyler Payne does. Here comes Maconi.
Polans gets backed out of it even more. Ricky Fowler, it's not golf. Kyle Fowler gets clear of those two battling for second and third. Maconi now entering his hat, as you said. And, man, Polans is good. I think that topside just isn't quite good enough to defend, and he really could not block that move down the backstretch or they would have wrecked. So I'm glad he didn't. He recognized that. Of course, he has a real Legends car. He doesn't want to tear this thing up. He doesn't want to tear his real car up either. Tyler Payne fighting with Jeffrey Maconi, and suddenly that 18 on the defensive.
Yeah, this puts Polans back into second. If he can gather his composure, he still has about 10 laps to go. He still is not out of this just yet. Can he chase down Fowler? But Fowler has looked so good these first 20 laps.
Maconi finally not too loose, it looks like, out of the corners, so he's going to hang on to fourth for now. But Kyle Fowler, as we now come to 9 laps to go, that 21 car just looks good. He's a bit sideways, it seems like, every once in a while. Kind of in a four-wheel slide, but he catches it real well. And it seems like David Polans is somehow a whole lot tighter right now. It seems like he's turning through the center, but is tight off, and it's really hurting the runs that he can mount up, because it seems like he's having to make sure he doesn't hit that wall, checking his throttle, almost like a bandolero out of the corner, and is looking like he's going to catch that fence. The rest of these guys all single file, everybody actually single file that we can see all the way back through. It looks like even the rest of the top 10 has gotten single file out. That's what we like to see after those first 15 or so laps.
Yeah, let this race run green so these boys can at least catch, most of their practice session for the super lates. But yeah, Polans has really been closing the gap now on Fowler just a little bit. I think he does a little bit better in the 3 and 4 because we talked about you can send it in there as it goes up the hill. That time he really doesn't, but that center to corner speed that 33 has is really helping him.
Yeah, again, Polans seems to really get around the center well, but Fowler just has him beat everywhere else, it seems like. The 21 is just real good. And it seems like even in that battle, Polans was good at fighting back through the center, but then on the exit, Fowler just had some kind of drive off the bottom that nobody else has right now, and that's why he was able to get away. They passed the lap number 11, it looks like, Eric Sellers, who whipped it around out of turn 4 a little while ago and brought up that caution flag all on his own, and suddenly this battle for second place is rather lively. David Polans trying to hang on to that second spot over Tyler Payne, who's been hard charging all evening long. Remember, these two started on the front row together. Polans into the wall just a bit.
Yeah, you see behind also Eric Steele letting it rip, trying to catch Maconi. But yeah, I think Payne really is getting to Polans, and Polans is fighting that car hard. It's not really responding well to the 33.
Not at all. 3 laps to go from North Wilkesboro, Emerson, and really the battle for the lead I don't think is going to narrow itself, but this battle for second is all dependent on whether or not Polans makes a mistake on corner exit.
Yeah, they're now about 3/10, almost 4/10 of a second behind Kyle Fowler here, but 2 laps to go at the 5/8 mile. The famed 5/8 mile, if you will. And now the top 3 about equidistant from each other.
Yeah, as these guys run more laps, they start to spread out quickly. There's a battle back here for about the 7th place with Hindre and Trumley. But back up to the front, the white flag will fly on Kyle Fowler, They have a lapped car in the waiting. We'll see if that impacts anything. But this top 3 has split itself up. Polans is almost close enough. Now he loses a ton of time on corner exit. Will the lapped car matter? It doesn't look like it. Kyle Fowler will fight behind Luke Brown to complete 30 laps first. And he will win at North Wilkesboro. Poland second, Payne in third. Kyle Fowler, a race winner.
And Maconi does hang on ahead of Eric Steele there for the top 5, or for 4th out of the top 5. And I believe we saw Kevin Blackburn spin it off of turn 4 there, coming to his white flag. So he'll end up a lap down when he was originally going to be on the lead lap.
You see Polans, I almost said Maconi, give respect to Kyle Fowler. That was a great move that he put on Polans down the backstretch. Just got a good run out of the corner, and that seemed to be Fowler's biggest greatness of this race. Biggest, I guess, I'm trying to think, weapon, if you will, that he used on Polans to get that win. Just that 21 was so good, corner off, and it's really unexplainable because that top side you'd think would be where you get the big run off the corner, but he was doing it from the bottom side.
Yeah, I think Polans' car was just too tight for his liking, or he was driving it too hard in the center of the corner or something, because he did have a lot of center of the corner speed, but that might have been it. I really don't know what to say. I almost didn't expect Kyle Fowler out of it. I was thinking more Tyler Payne just because of how they practice, but, practice isn't the race.
So we'll get these guys lined up for some post-race action. We're waiting on them to pop into our audio channel. So we'll go ahead, we'll step aside, and we'll be right back to you with these top 2. Race fans, we welcome you back to North Wilkesboro Speedway. Of course, the storied 5/8 mile in Wilkes County, North Carolina. We've just completed 30 laps of Legends Car Racing, and Kyle Fowler comes out on top of it all. Kyle, it was an interesting race with David Polans last week, but only for a few laps at South Boston, and then a big mistake out of Polans took you guys both out. This week, though, you guys get to race it out for the course of 30 laps, and you end up on top.
Yeah, man, that was a hell of a run. Like I said, I appreciate David running me clean. It was just an all-around great night. I had a poor qualifying effort. I think I qualified 8th or 7th. deep in the field, not where I wanted to be. Just made clean passes throughout the field, and then tried to get to the front quick as I could. And there was a lot of caution at the beginning, so it kind of screwed up my strategy. I kind of wanted to go and get to the front quick as I could, and then jump out in the lead and try to save some tires. But I had nothing for him unless I had got that good restart.
And you got that good restart, somehow getting a really big drive off the bottom side of the racetrack. Tell us about how you were able to do so, because, of course, usually you get that big exit from running the top side of a track. Tonight, though, you just had something special on the bottom side, getting up out of the corner.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that start played key. And then when I came off of 2, I just, I backed the corner up and tried to get a good run off the corner, which I did. And like I did at South Boston, I drove up to the top, ran on his back bumper, and then shot to the bottom. And it worked. Tyler Payne actually got to my inside there, and I thought I was going to lose it. It's just such tight racing today. It was unreal how close we were. So I tried my hardest to stay out front, and luck was on our side this week.
So as you're trying to battle from, 8th place from your starting position and get to the front, you got there by halfway, but there were a lot of starts and stops there. How was it trying to, really honestly have to redo all those passes a few times, because the restart didn't always count that last pass or so that you made trying to get by those guys, because we had all those starts and stops and getting through actually a couple of those wrecks as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was challenging. Like I said, I passed Tyler that one restart, and I got put back to 3rd. So I like it. It gives me a challenge. I know I can do it, but I actually like going back. If you don't complete a lap, going back to your last start position, that you completed that lap. But like you said, man, it was challenging, but like I said, it paid off in the end, which was really, really cool coming from South Boston last week to finally come back out on top here.
Absolutely. So Kyle, you were pretty good on late models last week. Can we expect you to do the same thing here in just a few minutes?
Yeah, I expect another strong run. Like I said, you still got David and Tyler and Daniel. He had a tough break. He hit the aprons, it put him out. But I expect to be up front in the super lates, just as the same as here. If not, try to go for the second win and try to go 2 for 2 tonight.
All right, Kyle, we'll have to hold you to it. I called you Ricky Fowler at one point. I don't know how you are at golf, but I didn't mean to, I promise. And we'll see you here in a little while. Better win. You said you would. So we're going to hold you to that one. Who do you have to thank, though, before we go into that late model race?
I got to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast, and, of course, Tyler Payne for putting this whole series together. It's pretty neat. And then thank my sponsors, Tonmar Engineering, CMO, Screen Printing and Supply, J&B Landscaping, Lisa Levy, Realtor, Matco, Mark Breeden, Smith Rafts and Graphics, Angel Treats Bakery, and good old Tyler Hughes Motorsports.
I'll tell you, that is certainly a list. Kyle, thanks for your time. We'll see you, I'm sure, after this late model race.
Looking forward to it. Thanks again, guys.
And that's Kyle Fowler, our race winner. Emerson, give us David Polans.
Right on, David Polans. You got a copy?
I'm here.
Right on. So, you were in control until halfway. Talk to us about that race.
Man, I felt like I played it pretty well on every restart, but that one. Of course, that one counted, and he got that run up off of 2, and I knew he was going to make that effort. That is where I struggled all race. I try to see my weaknesses, and my weakness was off of 2, and I just got smoked up off, unfortunately, and he got underneath me and took the lead, and I just never could quite get back to him. I pushed really hard, got the right front burned up, and I just never had a shot to really get back to him. I felt faster, just not quite fast enough.
Kind of talk to us about how you're feeling locked in that intense battle with you and Tyler Payne and Jeff Maconi and, of course, Kyle Fowler. You four were putting on an absolute show, but how were you feeling in that last half of the race?
Once Kyle got in front of me, I think when I was racing so hard with Tyler, I mean, we went 3 or 4 laps where I just pushed everything I could on that outside, and I finally outdueled Tyler just enough to get in front of him. And he had been fast all race. I mean, I drove that whole race as hard as I could because Tyler kept the pressure on. And I think Fowler was able to make up positions without burning up tires too much. So I felt really good. I felt a lot better than last week when I took out the whole field, I can tell you that much. And I'm actually really looking forward to the super late model race because I think I have something for him this week. The last week was top 5, but I'd like to get up there and battle for it.
That was going to be my next question. How are you feeling about that one? Because I believe you were 4th last week. You're expecting another strong run?
Oh, definitely. This is one of my favorite racetracks. It kind of goes back to my home track at Old Dominion Speedway. To me, when you look at racetracks, this is how they should be built right here. This is what NASCAR should be looking at for the future is 4/10 to 3/4 mile racetracks and putting them together. And that's what puts on a show. It's not some kind of oddball curve for the drivers to get around. Something that comes to mind, one of the series I races at Anderson, and it's super tight corners. Very oddball. Same with Tri-County. They're both kind of different than what you'd see at the majority of racetracks around America, and they're great racetracks, don't get me wrong. They're great for the driver, but when it comes to a show, you need a track like this that is nice and wide, but also short, where you kind of run out of room, so you're forced to really battle close and put on a show. So anyway, I'm looking forward to tonight. Hopefully I'll be talking to you guys again, but this time one position better. And sorry, I can run on talking, but DPF sponsors me, and I'd just like to thank them. Got a big race coming up here, possibly at Dominion Raceway, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, right on. I was gonna ask, do you have anyone else to thank? I guess for your second place run here in these legend cars.
Yeah, DPF Services LLC, their diesel particulate filter out at Virginia and in the Richmond area. And any surrounding. And then also the Sign Design Co. Roger Austin, he actually put together the paint scheme that you see out there. I think it's beautiful. I think it's unique. It's kind of something we did 10 years ago. My dad and I painted it. Roger got to recreate it. We did some different stuff with it. So got to thank them. And if you guys need any decals or anything, any graphics, definitely go to Sign Design Co.
Right on. Well, congratulations on your second place finish here, and best of luck to you in that super late model race.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
And so that's David Polins, our second place finisher this evening, and that'll do it for our post-race interviews from the Legends race. But don't go anywhere, because practice is already starting for those super late models, and they'll be on the track, well, at least on Pit Stop TV here shortly. We'll take our quick little break, and we'll be right back to you with coverage of that late model race. Don't go anywhere. It'll be continuing coverage. Actually, I'm ahead of myself. We got to go over results, don't we, here, Emerson? Let's do that real quick, because that practice is getting underway. Kyle Fowler wins at North Wilkesboro. David Polin, second place. Tyler Payne, third. Jeffrey Maconi in fourth. And Eric Steele wraps up the top 5.
Yeah, we file on back. It was Jeffrey Wallace ending up in P6 after that first lap. Daniel Hindre, P7. Dennis Warrens, P8. David Trumbley will come home 9th. And William Kleinbell, P10.
And we had an issue there at first with the results, but we can show you, well, we're trying to get those back up. And give me one moment, I promise. There we go. We do have the correct results. Eric Warden comes home in 11th place. Luke Brown in 12th. Kevin Blackburn 13th. Matthew Cott 14th. Gregory Moon. Then it's Eric Sellers, Joseph Ralph, Steve Mullins, Brady Campbell, Lee Brumigan, your top 20. And the last two couple of cars that did not make the start, Matthew T. Lee and Cody Moorcroft. That will do it then for our Legends portion of the program, and we'll join you here shortly with Super Late Models. Do not go anywhere. It's continuing coverage now from Pit Stop TV of the Maconi Setup Shop Fall Brawl. We'll see you here just in a little while.
Sound Art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
At Maconi Setup Shop, we offer custom-built setups for any asphalt oval car. Prices starting at just $5. Weekly setups available for all Legends, late models, modifieds, and NASCAR trucks, Xfinity, and Cup cars. Do you need one-on-one driver coaching? We've got you covered. Visit www.maconisetupshop.com and find yourself in Victory Lane. Maconi Setup Shop, handling all your setup needs so you don't have to.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
At Maconi Setup Shop, we offer custom-built setups for any asphalt oval car. Prices starting at just $5. Weekly setups available for all Legends, late models, modifieds, and NASCAR trucks, Xfinity, and Cup cars. Do you need one-on-one driver coaching? We've got you covered. Visit www.maconisetupshop.com and find yourself in Victory Lane. Maconi Setup Shop, handling all your setup needs so you don't have to.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with the speaker is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
At Maconi Setup Shop for any oval car. Pricing at just weekly available late models and NASCAR trucks, Xfinity, and Cup cars. Do you need one-on-one driver coaching? We've got you covered. Visit www.MaconiSetupShop.com and find yourself in Victory Lane. Maconi Setup Shop, handling all your setup needs. You don't have to.
We welcome you all back to North Wilkesboro Speedway as practice is getting ready to wrap up. It should be running for about 2 more minutes here, and then it will get advanced into qualifying. Looks like we are, oh, you know what, guys? We are right at that car count cap for heat races, and well, just for the field. We'll see if they run heats or if we just go straight into qualifying and the race from there. But man, what a Legends race we just saw a little while ago there, Emerson. That was certainly one way to get this thing started.
Was wicked. We had, you know, all aspects of short track racing, the tight close quarter intensity for the race lead, 4 cars under a blanket, 5 cars nose to tail at some points, and then, you know, we had the crashes and the sparks flying in the first half of the race. We got everything we wanted out of short track racing in that Legends race. Let's see if this super late model will live up to that as well.
Everybody, I think, is excited for these super late models to get going around here at North Wilkesboro. I'm pretty excited for it. The drivers sound excited for it. I'm ready for these supers to take to this 5/8 mile speedway. Let's see how they stack up after one race. And Daniel Hindre was the winner last week at South Boston Speedway. Kyle Fowler, second place. He just won our Legends race. We'll see if he can sweep the evening. Robert Warrens finished third last week. David Poland's fourth. Jane Jensen the third and fifth. So that's your top 5 to watch out for. You also want to watch out for names like Pete Polini, Tyler Payne, Matthew Moniak, actually, who came from the back last week, and more. I would say you should also watch for Jeffrey Wallace, Wes Shiflett, and some others out there, guys that maybe didn't have a great week 1, but want to try and capitalize on week 2.
Yeah, I mean, South Boston, what can we say? That was definitely something that's so small, and when a wreck happens in front of you, it's so hard to avoid it. So if you're, you know, somebody who's fast and was expected to perform at Sobo and you got into an accident, you know, week 2 is a little bit wider, a little bit bigger, so you have room to avoid those accidents if you somehow end up in the back again. And they're still wrecking in practice. And we should be able to see the people who need to perform move their way up to the pack a little bit easier.
And we'll see how these guys line up then for their run through the pack for some, and run maybe to stay ahead of the pack for others. Jeffrey Wallace already on the racetrack here for qualifying, and we'll see how the number 99 stacks up. He had a bit of a rough go in the Legends race a little while ago. Hopefully this time it goes a little better.
Yeah, he was just trying to get everything he can get. But I think this is the point where you do that. Here, 2 hot laps. This is where you get everything you can get.
You say that, and he pops the fence out of turn number 2. The He and I, and I'm not really sure what that is on the front. I guess Wallace Racing, rather, on the hood. We'll go, let's see what position. I don't think he's going to get a lap in. This might be a second lap here. Meanwhile, Chris Perry, the first one to set a lap time, and so he will get pole, and then Ryan Joyner goes a little bit faster in the number 25. Hopefully gets a time in Blackburn as well. We'll see how Wallace does across the line. Wallace will jump into 6th spot. The damage certainly holding him back. Ryan Joyner, though, does, as I said, go into the pole position for now. There's a look at Chris Perry. Some other cars on the racetrack, including Luke Brown, who goes up into 6th position. Gregory Moon also on the racetrack in the number 8.
Yeah, Moon was honestly robbed of a chance to even really compete in that Legends race. So I'm sure if he wants to get a good qualifying attempt in here and have a better chance of making it past turn 1. And he will end up 7th on the chart as Poland's good and Payne goes 2nd and 3rd.
Tyler Payne, how about him, man? He has been on a tear since wrapping up the championship in the summer tour by virtue of Parker Retzlaff missing the final race. And Tyler Payne has just been looking good ever since. He ran really well a week ago at South Boston. Almost had a shot to win at, here at North Wilkesboro a little while ago in the Legends race, and now qualifies currently 4th position in this super late model field. Pete Polini led the practice session, will go 2nd in qualifying. Looks like he's going to start from the outside pole. But we do have actually several cars that have not taken a time yet. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, now they're starting to take some time. Steve Mullins on the racetrack. Matthew Moniak as well in the number 24. But we're still looking like we could have 27 total machines.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe a couple of them are. Would there be any race control?
Yes, actually, Matthew Lee, I believe, is our race control. So we'll have 26 that are actually piloted this evening. I wonder if we're going to opt to take the heat racing or just let those last two tag on to the end of the field.
I mean, this track is pretty big. Oh, wow, Maconi is doing donuts in the grass. That's what he couldn't avoid last race. Anyway, we still have Kyle Fowler to set up. Actually, no, he goes 7th quickest now. And Robert Warrens is out there. And it's going to be difficult to differentiate the Warrens from each other when they're running similar liveries.
No, this is oval racing. They're paint schemes, but we're watching Jason Walker set his lap time. Has not set a time just yet, so this should be his first lap at speed in the number 15. I don't think we saw him at South Boston, though I could be mistaken, and he will go... Ooh, that lap, I don't think. Oh, he goes to 20th fast. Meanwhile, I also saw Daniel Hendry on the racetrack. He only goes to 12th quickest with his first qualifying lap. We'll see if he can do any better this time around. The start-finish line. Does Daniel Hendry move up from 12th? He moves up to 6th, so not so bad, but not where I would have expected him to be.
Yeah, our point leader having a little tough go there in qualifying. We'll see. He really didn't make his way up too far up through the field in the Legends race. Let's see if that narrative is different here for the super lates. And I believe everybody's taking the time.
Yeah, I think actually everybody has, aside from our race control of Matthew Lee, I think everybody has put a lap time down. So we have 28 seconds or so left in qualifying. Let's talk about some of our partners here at Pit Stop TV before this race gets underway. Of course, we want to lead off. Well, we've already talked a bit about Tucson Sound Art, but let's just remind you that Tucson Sound Art puts forth a great product that you should look into today. Go to TucsonSoundArt.com for some info. It's basically canvas around a box with a Bluetooth speaker in it. It's honestly amazing. You can use any memory from your life that you want to put up there, and it's really cool. I've got a sample of one on my wall, and I keep looking up at it. It's really dang cool to look at. We also want to thank Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, and when it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. At Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, the owner, Ashley Boyer, is a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe, and personalized services. You can contact Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine at permanentmakeupinmaine.com or call or text them at 207-358-8683. If you're looking for the best solutions for your permanent makeup concerns, give Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine a call today to book a consultation. Emerson, how about you go ahead and give us our top 10 in tonight's super late model race?
Right on. Well, we'll look at our front row, and our pole sitter still has yet to grid, but Ryan Joyner takes the top spot with a 17.530. Pete Polini will start to the outside pole. For number 2, we'll have Robert Warrens and David Polins coming off that Legends run. Tyler Payne will be seated in row number 3. To the outside of him will be Daniel Hendry. Fall back to row number 4, Chris Perry and Kyle Fowler with that Legends run. Back to row number 5, Dennis Warrens and JJ Jensen.
And starting 11th will be the number 8 car of Gregory Moon, who had a rough go in the Legends race a little while ago. Eric Steele to his outside of the number 32 car. 13th, it's going to be Harold Ralph in the number 21. Wes Shiflett to his outside of the 23. 15th position is Jeffrey Maconi, the man himself. To his outside, it's Travis Hofler. So a lot of zeros actually in that row with Maconi and Hofler, the 00 and 20. Row number 9, it's Luke Brown out of Mooresville, North Carolina, and Matthew Moniak in the number 24. Finally, to round out the top 20 this evening, as we are just going straight into the race, Jason Walker in the 15, Jeffrey Eddy in the number 88.
In row number 11, we're going to have Matthew Kopp and Mackenzie Galajda. We go back to row number 12, Kevin Blackburn and Jeffrey Wallace. And rounding out the final row, row number 13, it'll be Steve Mullins and Joseph Ralph.
So 26 cars this evening, and I believe at least that they're letting them all start, but we could be mistaken. I guess we'll see if that's the 17 rolling on by. It's hard to say. They may have actually just eliminated the back two. Yeah, hard to say. We don't really know just yet, but we'll see once they get racing here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. If you didn't catch the Legends race a little while ago, while caution-filled it may have been, it was certainly one to tune in for, because that battle to the race win was certainly something. It was that last restart that did it all for eventual race winner Kyle Fowler. David Pollins put on a great fight, just couldn't quite hang on to it, ended up finishing second place with Tyler Payne close behind in third. It was some great battling that entire race long, all 30 laps of it, despite the extra caution laps thrown in. And this one, though, Emerson, 75 laps, and caution laps do not count, so if it does get a bit caution-laden, that will not hold our progress up. Out of turn 4, coming to the green flag for the super late model portion of tonight's show. It's going to be that number 25 of Ryan Joyner leading across the start-finish line, and through turns 1 and 2 they go.
Yeah, Pete Polini tried to hang tough on that outside, but Ryan Joyner is the name of the game heading into turn number 3, clear of everyone else. Robert Warren trying to get clear of third, I believe, of David Pollins as they complete lap number 1.
They get one lap in the books, and they race down the backstretch now at North Wilkesboro. The front 5 get single file out, but here comes Chris Perry in that Duke number 11, and he wants to fight to the inside of Tyler Payne. He's in 7th now as he falls back in behind Hindre, but he just might have something on that bottom side. Everybody else kind of up the racetrack a little bit.
Yeah, and don't count out Kyle Fowler right here as well, just kind of biding his time with these two double wide in front of him. Of course, Kyle Fowler with the amazing run just a few minutes ago. We'll see if he can work his way up another 7 or so spots and get in contention for that.
Contact between Hindre and Perry, and Hindre just came out of the corner all kinds of out of shape, and the 11 of Perry's been leaning on that 71 for a while, finally to make some contact, and more contact almost into one. Hindre up the racetrack, and I don't think Hindre was liking the way that battling was going. Now Kyle Fowler, his teammate to the inside, as it looks like he tags the fence. A caution flag does fly further back, and we've got a stack up in 1 and 2.
Yeah, my timing and scoring was going haywire. It looked like many cars involved, or at least changing positions towards the back of the pack.
Oh, Gregory Moon this time sends Eric Steele around, and they pack up behind him. I see Travis Hofler and more involved in that stack up here in turns 1 and 2. Let's see if we can get a better look at it. So the 32 of Steele is the first one to go around with help of Gregory Moon. Maconi was racing to the inside of Steele out of 4, and then Moon, I guess, just a big lunge to the inside and tags the 32, and he goes around. And he gets tagged even more. Moniak involved, the 21, the 32. A whole lot of guys getting this one.
Yeah, that was quite an ambitious move, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can see why Steele was slowing was slow, because he almost got into the wall battling Maconi, and I think maybe Moon just thought he could take advantage of that. But short track racing, man, it's really hard to tell.
Here is that angle, well, the onboard angle of what happens here in turns 1 and 2. There's the lunge to the inside, and yeah, that was from quite a ways back. I don't think he was necessarily intending to get into anybody by any means, but just a lunge from way back there into turn 1. We'll watch it one more time, this time at full speed, and yeah, this is just a really overzealous move, I think, especially this early in the race. I think it was lap 5.
Yeah, it was pretty early for this kind of a move. Almost Gregory Moon now on the flip side of what happened in that Legends race on lap 1. A pretty overambitious move at the very start of the race. I guess he's seen both sides of that.
What is now lap 8 of 75, coming to 9. Looks like we'll restart on lap 10 or 11. And certainly an exciting start to this one. These super late models do not disappoint. and those guys were really starting to go at it. And that was great racing out of those guys in the front until we had that halt of progress. I think this is a great place for racing some super late models. In fact, that's what they did towards the end of North Wilkesboro's lifespan, was they raced late models here in the UCAR Hooters Pro Cup Series, I believe. I could be mistaken, but I do believe that is pretty on point there. North Wilkesboro lived on until, like I said at the top of the show, 2011, which is hard to imagine considering it lost its NASCAR date 15 years prior in 1996. But this place, it lived a short life on after NASCAR. It just couldn't be sustained. And it had a closure in there somewhere, so I guess it wasn't 15 years of life afterwards. But still, I'm just so glad that 9 years after it finally closed, we were finally able to get it onto the sim on here at iRacing.com and be able to race, and in this case, watch races at North Wilkesboro in some shape or form. We had Legends a little while ago, now super late models on the racetrack. Certainly an exciting evening of racing. Coming to the green flag, it's Ryan Joyner, Pete Pellini, your front row, and we'll go back at it on to lap number 11.
Racing once again at Wilkesboro, and Joyner gets clear of Pellini. Robert Warren's now back to work on that inside lane to try to get clear Poland's once again. They go side by side behind Pellini. How about Poland sending it way to the outside? Can he make it stick, though? He'll have the run on the exit.
They race out of turn 2. Here comes Robert Warrens. Where did he come from? He's up in the third spot. Gets on by Payne and now Poland's. The mom and pop Chevrolet falls back into fourth. They race for fifth behind, and that's Payne and Perry going at it. A couple of P's getting into battle. This is lap 13 now, and a caution flag does fly.
Yeah, Luke Brown and co, I think, had issues there on the front straightaway.
So this is watching Steve Mullins, and oh yeah, it happened well up ahead. Oh my! The Ford never slowed down. That was Mackenzie Galaja. Never, ever checked up for that one. You said Luke Brown was the start of it. Yep, that was the number 19 that we saw spun around entering turn number 1. He's in behind. Oh, actually, he just loses it. A lot like Eric Sellers in the Legends race. Steele barely gets by, then the 17 piles in, nowhere to go, and then the 4 a little while later. So Steve Mullins was that car that was left with zero escape, much like the number 32 of Eric Steele. Bit of a couple of big hits there in turn 1.
Yeah, just almost nowhere to go. And I mean, I know it's a short track, but these cars, they're flying around here. They're going, what I'd say, but at least 120 down this front straightaway. It's not easy to slow down and avoid that.
For reference, Emerson, they are a second clear at their best, at their fastest. They're a second clear of the NASCAR Cup Series record here.
That is insane. Yeah, they're absolutely flying around here. So I think the stopping distance had to be a lot greater than I think Mackenzie and who else was in that? Mullins could have anticipated.
Well, I don't think there was anything that Mullins could have done. It all happened so quickly, but Mackenzie was a little ways further back of that and just didn't seem to lose much speed. Regardless, any number of things could have happened and gone into that one. I'm just looking to verify, actually. I'm starting to doubt myself about that Cup Series lap record in a race. And yeah, no. The race lap record in North Wilkesboro is an 18.905 set by Ernie Irvin of Yates Racing in 1994. These guys at their best, Ryan Joyner ran a 17.924. We have a 17.926 from Tyler Payne. These guys are just about a second clear of the NASCAR Cup cars in 1994. And that's the lap record. So I can only imagine other cars having race here being a second slower than these guys in these supers. Incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fast little place. 14 degrees of banking. Again, you can carry more speed than other traditional short tracks. So I think that just adds to the factor of how much speed they're really carrying around this track.
So it looks like we'll get the 1 to go signal for these drivers to get back at it. Pace car lights do shut off, which means Ryan Joyner, Pete Polini will go back at racing here to turn number 1. Joyner has led every bit of the way thus far, but Pete Polini is sticking right with him and not letting him get too far out of sight. Robert Warren's also spoiling the party up there in the top 5. We'll see how they do across the start-finish this time by to get things restarted. Coming to lap number 19 of 75. Joyner gets on the loud pedal. The green flag does fly here at North Wilkesboro, and right back at it. Polini with a great restart, but an immediate yellow flag, and they stack up much like the Legends. Oh my gosh, and they're just not stopping.
No. Oh,
and they
no.
keep driving into each other. I think that's guys, you gotta lock it down.
If we had the option, this would be a red flag.
I mean, yeah, the track was blocked there for a moment, and a big incident. They all stack up. Where does the stack up start? That's the question. Oh, it looks like with Kyle Fowler possibly. Let's take a look back at things. This is a big one, and this was right behind the leaders.
Wow, I mean, and if something happens up front...
Oh, Jeffrey Maconi!
Oh.
Much like Jeffrey Bryan Wallace in the first race at the start, you just can't go up there. It's the same result.
I don't know how you defend that. It's almost a mirror image of what happened in that Legends in the Legends race. Yeah, like you said.
Yeah, it's the same thing, I think, just 20 laps later, and we see the result. We're going to watch this replay here from the speed shot entering turn 1 and just watch them all stack up. And you'll see the move as well. Man, he just gets squeezed in the wall. That's why you can't do that on restarts, you know? You've got to stay in your line.
Yeah, I know it would probably be difficult, but I'd like iRacing to do something with that. I mean, this can also, be manually enforced, but still, I mean.
And I hate to take a big dig at Jeffrey Maconi right here, but that really is, and he probably knows this. I don't think he has to be told this. That was a low percentage move, especially in the first third of a race here at North Wilkesboro. And after the Legends race and how hard it was to get that one off the ground, you just can't. You've got to sit back. You see him giving that big gap to Fowler, and he launches the outside as well. That's a complete jump. I mean, in any normal restart, if he had been packed up, there's no way that he's to the outside of Fowler anywhere near the start-finish line. He laid back a good ways, and I think Jeffrey will know when he looks back at that one, that was not a good restart out of him. That's not at all what you do on a short-track restart.
Yeah, I've got nothing. But I don't believe we are.
These guys up ahead, I mean, the field is really strung out. You can see the tail end of the field right here. I'm not sure. Okay, they're all finally going by the start. You know what it was? Everybody got hung a lap down and had to get the wave around because it came out before the start-finish line. That's unfortunately what happens when you have a big stack up like that before the start-finish, is everybody gets caught that lap behind, and yep, they'll extend to get these guys lined up.
Yeah, I was just about to say, we're probably going to have to extend this. So one quick thing out of that, I didn't even realize, but Kyle Fowler was the other piece in that accident, and that's unfortunate. He was pretty confident about what he could do in the super lates here after that Legends race, and at least that's going to put a dent in things for him.
So we'll look to get things going here, coming to, well, complete the first third of this super late model race. It's been a fun one so far, just a really big accident that last time around on that restart. We'll see if we can get going here. The top two, it looks like, have swapped. I'm not sure if Joyner, well, actually, I think Polini just got such a good restart. He got that lead spot, so out of turn number 4, they restart, and Pete Polini is your race leader into 1.
Yeah, Polini now gets to feel how Joyner felt the first couple, the start and the restarts that followed. And now Polini, look at a gap he's opened up entering turn number 3. Joyner had no answer, but Warrens and Poland have also swapped spots. That battle was flipped the other way around a couple of restarts ago. And how about Tyler Payne still trying to find a way around the double wide?
Poland side by side with Warrens, and it looks like he's going to take a shallower entry and back it up a little bit, but Warren's just fighting the outside, almost contact out of 4. The top side's just so good in these wider late models. The lanes are definitely wider because the car, Chris Perry shoved the 71, and this contact between the 11 and 71 continues because if you remember, they made contact at a turn 2 in the early goings after battling side by side for a while. That time Perry shoved Hindre up into Tyler Payne. And that's what happens sometimes. These late models are pretty long too, so it's easy to get into the back of somebody and shove them up into a battle.
Yeah, I mean, this is some great racing. You're going to expect a little contact, especially short track racing. These super lates, they are just so wide. It is so hard to almost avoid contact a lot of times, but this puts JJ Jensen into the mix as Tyler Payne goes quickest on the track, and there's a caution on the speedway.
And this is a bit further back, it looks like. I'm not sure who's going to be stopped in this one. It looks like maybe Harold Ralph is the catalyst. And there was some contact with Moniak and Maconi. And what happens with Harold Ralph? Because he's now left the racing. Oh, there it is. Maybe? Looks like he might have incident out. Got disqualified there. Oh, here it is with the 15 and 4. So that's Walker and Galajda. Let's see what happens on the front stretch. This may have been stemming from the Maconi and Moniak situation, and then a big stack up. Blackburn involved, Walker and Moore.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of how quickly things can happen at short tracks. And oh, Blackburn just tagged. I think he was starting to slow down for what was happening in front of him, and Galajda and Walker nowhere to go as well.
So a lot of big incidents here to get things going, but that thins the herd. We are down to around 25 cars. I guess that hasn't thinned the herd much. I think we've got about 23 that are still really running. 21 actually are still, 22 actually are still driving on the racetrack. Steve Mullen's the last of those. In fact, he is 26th behind Harold Ralph, who looks like maybe done. Mackenzie Galajda in the pit lane, Eric Steele as well. These guys getting back onto the racetrack. So actually, they're all hanging in relatively well here, Emerson, and they just will not give up. But hey, respect 100% for these guys who've gotten taken out a couple of times and are still trying to get a decent finish.
Yeah, I'm sure in the heat of the moment, it rage quitting or just ending the race for yourself just seems just so, what's the word? I guess just so, I don't know, you feel
like a much better idea.
Yeah, I mean, short track racing is mentally taxing. It's going to test your temper, and it's just going to take a lot of brain power to really keep a clean car around here and keep running around here, lap after lap, hitting all of your marks. Because if you miss your mark, you're just going to get ran over. Or you're going to run over somebody. It really is just, it's perfection. And the people who can do this for laps on end, major respect to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, North Wilkesboro is a place that it's tough. It's naturally just a tough racetrack, and people want to win here at North Wilkesboro. This place carries so much clout, if you will, so much recognition. You want to win at North Wilkesboro just as bad as Darlington, Daytona, literally anywhere else. North Wilkesboro means a lot to everybody, and it just carries that extra meaning, and everybody wants to try and give it their best shot and race hard. And so I get it. But we also got to get a race in here this evening. We are through now 35 laps of 75 once we come back around to the start-finish line. So we are getting this thing underway. Just a few halts in progress. So I'm not at all in a bad state, I think, about this one at all. I think there's still a great race, a lot of great racing to be had in the next 40 laps. We've had a lot so far. We just got to get the ball rolling, and I think we will. Pete Polini, big restart, big stack up on the top.
Absolutely out of here. Pete Polini, major jump on the field, timed it beautifully with the Chevrolet Silverado pulling off, and over now up to half a second, the gap between them.
Joyner did make some big inroads on that gap, though, in that lap, and he has caught up a little bit. Warrens and Poland's battle side by side. Payne up in there as well. Hindre side by side with the 0-2 car of Jay Jensen III, who's actually in 5th place in points after finishing 5th at South Boston. We just haven't seen much of him. Thankfully, that car in one piece.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that a lot of these cars are still intact is insane after how much contact they made on the last go around. And yeah, I mean, Hindre, he's been in the middle of a battle this entire race. Tyler Payne as well. We start to single it out up front here with Joyner kind of backing up actually to Warrens. Now Payne is the one in the battle when he was kind of actually hiding behind the double wide.
Yeah, there was some side-to-side contact a couple of times in these battles. Oh, Perry loose into the inside wall, it looks like. He gathers it back up with the help of that wall, keeps going, we stay green flag. Robert Warren's in 3rd, trying to get up to Joyner. Meanwhile, they battle behind. Poland's maybe gets ahead of Payne for the moment. Poland's back to the outside of Warren's, and here comes Payne back to the inside of Poland's. Hindre has company from the L2 of Jensen, and they keep racing on. In behind them, it's Jeffrey Wallace in 8th, Kyle Fowler 9th, making a comeback, and Wes Shiflett up into 10th place, completing your top 10.
Either Joyner used up his stuff or his car just doesn't handle that well, not being the lead car. I mean, if aerodynamics play that much of a factor into it, but he is really struggling once he's fallen to 2nd place here. He's backed up to Warrens, who actually, that allows Poland's to really have a shot at 2nd place. He's going to get the run on the outside, I'm sorry, for 3rd place, and he almost clears Warrens into the corner, but he's still trying to get around that 25.
And now Poland's has a big run on Joyner, and he's going for 2nd, and actually Joyner just lets him go. I think he realizes right now that Poland's is faster to make that move on the top side. Now Payne has switched sides. Oh, he pounds the inside or outside wall, but he gets in ahead of Warren. So, I mean, I see this as an absolute win for Tyler Payne. And now David Poland's a big run at the race leader, Pete Polini.
Yeah, I think that was Hindre who had a big moment off of turn 2 as well. Everybody leaving everything on the table. Just as he said, they want to win at North Wilkesboro. And now Polini, he's in trouble now. Poland hounding that back bumper, looking for a way around that 51.
Watching from the right rear of Joyner, and he's just kind of watching this battle go on up ahead right now, and he's just waiting for his chance. He taps the outside wall right there, and man, these guys are really starting to go at it for P1. Joyner still trying to defend P3 from Tyler Payne now, and Robert Warrens is in behind him. Into 6th, that's Hindre, then Jensen in 3rd. Not 3rd, he is the 3rd rather, but he is in 7th spot. They continue to battle. Here comes Jeffrey Brian Wallace into that one, and they still go at it up ahead. A bit of separation though now in the top 3.
You know what? I was starting to write him off, and I really shouldn't have, because look at Kyle Fowler into the top 10 in 9th position. He's ready to make some dents in this top 8.
Fowler does slip back into 10th. He goes behind Jeffrey Maconi. The 5 is definitely wounded, but he's doing a great job of trying to keep it in this fight. Pete Polini leads. It's coming up to lap 50 of 75. We're actually coming to 49 first. So 48 in the books and almost 2/3 of the way through this one. We'll quickly recap the rest of the field. Steve Mullins, well, actually Harold Ralph, dead last in 26th. Steve Mullins 25th. Mackenzie Galajda 24th. Joseph Ralph 23rd. Gregory Moon 22nd. Kevin Blackburn 21st. It's Jason Walker in 20th position. 19th, Jeff Rietti. 18th, Eric Steele. Matthew Moniak in 17th position right now. He's got Luke Brown ahead of him. Matthew Kopp in 15th. It's Travis Hofler in 14th. Dennis Warrens, the second of the two Warrens, in 13th. Chris Perry has fallen back into a battle right here with Wes Shiflett. He's looking to get 11th place over now 12th place. Shiflett. The top 10, it's Fowler in 10th. Maconi in 9th. Wallace in 8th. Jensen 7th. Hindre in 6th. And we rejoin this top 5 battle where nothing has changed between Polini, Poland's, Joyner, Payne, and Warrens.
Beautiful recap, Andrew, and I think this green flag run is just what this field needed to get some laps under their belts. And I mean, I don't think we're gonna go green to the end, but I think this is really gonna click off some laps here, let these drivers get more comfortable with the track, and I think the likelihood of an accident just goes down the more laps we run under green.
Well, desperation will start to set in here in about 15 more laps. These guys will realize that they've got to get going if they want to get some more spots before the end of this one. It's pretty darn hard to pass here at North Wilkesboro. You've got to make a big move or maybe even use the fenders or bumpers on your car to get on by somebody. It's just the fact of the matter. It's short track racing quite literally here at North Wilkesboro. You've got to use your car quite inventively to get on by somebody. Here comes Pollins. He looks to make a move at first. He peeks down there and fakes to the inside. Polini defends. They cross back over on a 4, and Pollins now loses some time. Back into turn 1, he loses a bit, but I lost my train of thought. Meanwhile, the train of the top 7 continue on, and Joyner is still in 3rd place and suddenly has an extra boost of speed. Might have just found one of those mushrooms in Mario Kart as they pass these lap cars down the front stretch, the 17 of Mullins and the 35 rather, of Joseph Ralph.
I was just about to say, another product of short track racing is lap traffic, and look what it did. It strung this top 7 or so right together, and all of a sudden, it's no longer a 2-car battle for the race lead. It is a 7-car battle for the race lead.
Inside of 20 to go, it's Polini, Pollins, Joyner, Payne, your top 4 still. Warrens has not gone anywhere. He's in 5th. This whole top 7 has just remained the same. Meanwhile, Jeffrey Maconi up into 8th spot. Wallace is sliding back, and Fowler's in between the two Jeffreys. Polini leads. And I don't think that's going to change very easily because he has just stayed up there since getting that race lead. Hendry down to the inside grass, and the caution flag flies. We're going to reset him. We're going to re-rack him, restack him in a moment, but let's see what happens to Hendry. He's racing with Jensen, and that's a tough call. I'm not sure that's on either one of them. It looks like Hendry gets out of shape in 1 and 2, and Jensen's just there.
Yeah, I mean, it's that close quarters racing. I think Jensen was just trying to get up off that grass, not clip it, and I think Hendry
well, the shape of the corner changes, and that line down there is not perfectly set to the radius of the corner. The shape of the corner changes. Remember, there was that pit exit, that extra bit of pavement, which is why the shape looks a bit weird, and I think that's what leads to this incident. We're going to watch it from another angle here. And you're going to see it kind of changes a little bit, and the racing line goes up from that point. So Jensen did nothing wrong. I don't think Hendry necessarily did anything wrong either. He was just trying to get back into the racing line.
Yeah, it was just 2 lines that met at one point, an intersecting point, if you will. And it didn't really work out in Hendry's favor. I believe he still scored in the top 10, though, so not all is lost, but I believe he got some damage. I believe he hit that inside wall.
We've only had 3 lead changes in this race, but it's been darn exciting behind that. 5 cautions now for what will be 25 laps by the time we go back. Green flag racing, Emerson. This has been a good one, and this is going to rival South Boston as far as which race is better. Yeah, there's been some big incidents, just like Sobo, but this place just puts on some great racing. Even the Legends race earlier, despite all the hiccups in that one, great racing between all those Legends drivers once they got things going.
No, I'm going to be straight up honest. I don't have any short tracks really around me. I have, I think, 1 short track within like a couple 100 miles of me that I even know of. So I wasn't really a short track racing fan. I never really got into it, but wow. Watching these Maconi, the summer tour, and now this fall Brawl, I am quickly becoming a fan of short track racing.
It's easy to do, and you kind of catch it like a disease. I guess that may not be the right term in today's world, but Pete Polini will be your race leader coming to lap 63. I think we have the 1-to-go signal from the flag stand. No, we'll get it this time by, so Polini will lead 1 more lap under yellow flag conditions, and we'll restart on lap 64. And Emerson, again, it's a bit addictive. You certainly catch on to this stuff pretty easily, and it's just fun, especially once you go do it in real life and see it in real life. It's just so much more fun in real life as well. Now, it is worth mentioning Jay Jensen no longer in the front. I wonder, was that an EOL?
Yeah, he was given the EOL. So
I disagree with that one wholeheartedly, but we'll let that one fly for now. Pete Polini in the lead, and he's got Pollins to his outside. That's not changed. But Joyner now having to fight from the second row. We'll see how he does on this restart. Coming to lap 64 of 75. Polini, another big jump, and Joyner to the inside of Pollins.
I was just going to say, I wonder how it was going to go on that outside. Payne was right up to the back bumper to 33, and it did not go. There's a lot of contact in the back. They scramble behind him. No caution yet. How about Joyner fighting back for a second now on Pollins? He's got that short run speed. The center of the corner, he's got that speed.
Oh, they wrecked for second place! Are you kidding me, guys?
Payne on his side.
Oh, no. Oh, no. We watched it happen, and I already have an idea of how this starts, but we'll watch it a few more times, and there's how Payne gets rolled over a couple of times, lands back on all four wheels, but what calamity down the front stretch, and you know what, we're going to have to watch that one more time, because that doesn't really tell the whole story. There's Warren's getting sent sideways. They all stack up for the back. Fowler involved in that. But out of turn 4 is where this all happens for second place. And we're going to watch out of the corner as Joyner's going to get a bit loose. No, I think he thought he had more room, faked up to the top side. I want to watch this all one more time. It's like Joyner thinks he's got more room than he does. He fakes up there a little bit, and in reaction, just natural reaction, Pollins actually tags the wall because of it, and then ricochets back into him.
Yeah, there's not a lot of room to react. Yeah,
that's just a natural reaction. I can't blame Pollins at all for that. I mean, you have a car coming up at you down the straightaway, you're going to move the wheel a bit to the right, and then he ricochets off the wall into Joyner, and it's just a big, big wreck for those two after that.
Yeah, I don't think Joyner was trying to squeeze him to the wall or anything like that. I think it's just trying to drive it straight off the corner. How you do at most short tracks, try not to spin it, but try not to hit the wall either. Trying to just drive it straight off, and unfortunately, that's what happened. You know, the reaction from Pollins, and Tyler Payne goes for a wild ride, but not too much damage on that for flipping over a couple times.
And it does look like Pollins has gone to the rear. Again, wholeheartedly disagree with that decision. Nothing Pollins did wrong at all. And it mirrors in that way the previous incident with Hindre and Jensen. Nothing Jensen did wrong at all. And I guess we'll let that one go. We are coming to 7 laps to go. Polini, the leader. Suddenly, everything changes up. Jeffrey Maconi somehow is up into second place. Robert Warren's in third. Jeffrey Wallace in fourth. Daniel Hindre recovers into 5th place. How about that for Daniel Hindre, last week's winner?
Yeah, Hindre, he wants to still have a fighting chance to keep the top spot in that point standings. Of course, it's only a 1 point to second place, of everybody getting 1 point per position. But Hindre's up here in the mix. He will be starting in that 3rd row, and you have a fighting chance in that 3rd row.
Yeah, we saw Joyner was about to go for 2nd place from the 3rd row on that restart, and then of course the contact into 1. So Warren's and Wallace not out of this. They can certainly get up there and fight for this race win still, especially Robert Warren's. We've seen a lot of speed out of thus far this evening here at North Wilkesboro. I would not be surprised if it's a battle between the 51 and 95, but also keep in mind, Jeffrey Maconi's quick. And despite the big restart incident they had down the front stretch, that 00 is going to be good in these last 5 laps. It is a 5-lap shootout here, Emerson Arden, and they are going to be fighting tooth and nail for this one, I'm sure. Waiting on the signal from the starter to get this one back underway. Polini, another... Oh, he waited a bit longer, and not as big of a jump, but he does clear Maconi.
I think he wanted to kind of juke Maconi out. Everybody's kind of seen Polini go right off the pace truck. And this time, Maconi, he slots into second. He's going to line him up. 4 laps to go around the 5/8 mile. This time by Maconi. A big run to the center of the corner, but does he lose it on exit?
Maconi looks low. Caution flag! That might end this race. We'll see what happens. It's a big junk 'em up down the front stretch. They're still hitting one another. Oh my, I see Blackburn, I see Walker, I see Moon, I see Cop, I see more involved in this one. Let's see what happens down the front stretch to start all of this. Looks like it happens a little ways up ahead. There's some contact already happening. And what ends up triggering? Oh my. And Poland's, after getting sent to the rear, gets involved in another one. Ooh, there's some contact. That was Mullins into Poland's, and then it happens further ahead, I think. Yeah, it does. Moniak with issues on the front stretch as well. What the heck happens here on this restart?
Oh.
Cop reacted to Joyner down to the bottom side and then turns the 24 of Moniak, and that's how this all starts up. I want to see, did Joyner throw it down there where his nose maybe didn't belong? Ooh, it definitely scared Cop a little bit. And he took it 3 wide, and I mean, you have to in the closing stages. And Cop just reacted, thought he was going to get barreled through, and that's what starts all of that. That's a big one down the front stretch.
Yeah, with as little laps there is to go, because we will get a green-white checkered finish, according to race control. As few laps there, I can see the move. And I respect, Cop for giving the room to do so, but yeah, just know where to go.
So we'll have at least one more shot at things this evening. Pete Pellini has been the class of the field, but you could argue that Ryan Joyner belongs up there with him because Ryan Joyner started on pole and was great at defending for a little while just as the race went on. Pellini's tires were better. Poland's tires were better. Now they're both somewhere down in the back. Joyner's actually 9th and Poland sits 13th, so just unfortunate circumstances, I suppose.
Now hear this out. Daniel Hindre is now outside row 2. If Maconi can get a good restart and Hindre can go with Maconi, Hindre really has a fighting chance now.
So that really changes things up because Hindre, of course, your winner at South Boston 1 week ago, could shake things up once more. We haven't really talked about the weather. I showed it going into this super late model race, but rather calm actually for North Carolina. It's like up and down here locally, where 1 week it'll be kind of 90 degrees still in September, 1 week it'll be 60. It's right in the middle of that, 76.3, so 76 and 3rd degrees here in North Wilkesboro, 90 degrees on the track, and relatively calm, but actually sustained winds at 10 miles an hour. Now it drops down to 7 or so, and it keeps dropping, but interesting, actually, that the wind is that high here at North Wilkesboro. The race info, well, it's been an interesting one. 7 cautions now for 35 laps, only 3 lead changes, but it's still been exciting up at the front. Pellini will lead us to our first green, white checkered. Jeffrey Maconi to his outside. It's Robert Warrens in 3rd, Daniel Hindre in 4th, and rounding out your top 5, Jeffrey Brian Wallace. We'll go at it one more time.
Pellini, a great start. Clears Maconi. Maconi now still in 2nd, but this time he's only got 2 laps to make a move, make that 1.5 as they come down the back straightaway for the penultimate time here at North Wilkesboro. Maybe.
Will we get to the white flag? It looks like we will. 1 lap to go for Pete Pellini. He's led so much. They are wrecking in the back, but the white flag has been displayed. And this is the final couple of corners for Maconi to make a move. Can he do it on Pete Pellini? He tries to dive it in, gets to him at center, but can't make contact. Pete Pellini will exit turn 4, a race winner at North Wilkesboro.
I have to give it to Maconi. He gave it his absolute all in those final 2 laps. Just a little short, and then Hindre comes on 4th, right where he restarted. Wow. Joyner to P7.
And we'll see where Poland's recovered up to. And Poland's will recover into, it looks like, position number 11. Pellini is going to burn it down to the front stretch, though. Puts the right rear in the wall. You don't need it anymore. Race is over, and a big, big win for Pete Pellini here at North Wilkesboro. And that's good to see, considering he led several laps. I mean, he led, I think, 2/3 of the race. Let's double-check that right here. Yeah, well, hell, more than 2/3 of the race. 61 of 75 laps. Only 14 laps that he was not in front for. The 51 was pretty good at South Boston, just couldn't wrap a race up. This evening, though, at North Wilkesboro, the 51 was the one to beat.
Most definitely. I mean, wow. And he's still burning it down. Well deserved, by the way. He fought hard. He timed the restarts beautifully. He changed up the restarts as he should. And I mean, still, he had everybody breathing down his neck, but to no avail for anyone other than Pellini.
The amazing thing is that he fought off several different cars at several different points in time in the race to get this win. It wasn't just fighting the same guy for 50 laps or something. He had to fend off multiple drivers and multiple ways of trying to pass him throughout the race, and he hung on to it, and he wins at North Wilkesboro. What do you say we go ahead, and while we're waiting on some drivers to get into the audio channels, we look back at that incident, well, there was multiple incidents there on the last couple of laps, so this is a replay, and we'll just go back somewhere in the field. And yeah, this is part of it with Eric Steele, and I'm interested as to what happens here on the front stretch.
He clipped the grass, and that's what set it off there, off of turn 4. Wow. Oh, wow. Big. Oh, more impacts.
So we'll see what happens to Eric Steele. He's got Pollins and Moniak behind. I wonder if there's contact, possibly. Pollins might have gotten him kind of out of shape, but yeah, he catches the grass, and it's on from there. They wreck down the front stretch. Pollins gets in it, Moniak, Ralph, and more, and they just keep piling in.
Man, Walker took a big hit. Or was that Mullins? I think that was Walker, actually.
What number?
At a 15?
15, yeah, that's Walker. That's a hit there. Let's try and follow him through this. Big hit into the outside wall. Ralph is going to come careening into him, it looks like. And Mullins finally piles in here at the end into Matthew Kopp as they're wrecking. I mean, nowhere for him to really go. I guess you may as well try and battering ram your way through it and see if you can get a couple of spots that way. It ended up working out for him, I think, because he finishes... Well, no, he was further on in the back. He was 18 laps down at the end there. But what do you say we try and find a way to dial up our race winners, or race winner rather, and second place, and we do have them in waiting. And I'll hand you this race winner here. It looks like, well, you know what, let's go second place first, because we don't have Pete just yet. So let's get Maconi first, and I'll hand you over to him.
Right on. Jeff Maconi, got a copy?
I do indeed.
All right. I have to ask. Those final restarts, what is going through your mind sitting there in second place against Pete Pellini?
Well, I know Pete well. He's a fantastic driver, one of my favorite people to run with. And when it was about 6 to go, I was really confident that I was going to be able to get around him. I knew I was going to be able to have him. If that last caution hadn't come out, I think I would have been able to get around him and drive away. But that's racing. I was right on his back bumper in turn 3 and almost gave him a shot. And he was expecting it. He knew it was coming. But yeah, it was a lot of fun running with him. So I knew it was going to be a good run to the end.
There was a move earlier in the race. I can't remember who you got into, but it was on a restart and you tried to peek to the outside. What was kind of going through your mind on that move?
The whole outside line actually checked up on that move, and it was either slam on the brakes and get run into from behind or jump to the outside and try and make it happen out there. So I stuck my nose out. I think I was at his, quarter panel, and I don't know if the guy below him came up and bumped him up into me or what, but it was a racing deal. I jumped on the mic right away to apologize, and I shouldn't have been out there, but at the same time, like I was sort of there. So it was a racing deal, but battling back from that was a lot of fun. Driving through the field from last to second and battling for the lead was pretty cool.
Right on. Well, my next question was going to be, well, how did the car feel? I mean, it must have been a dream to drive.
Oh, it was amazing on the outside. I was really surprised by that. The outside line worked amazingly well for me. And if I got to someone's quarter panel, I was going to get around him within the next lap. That's just on the outside. It was just amazing out there. It was perfect.
Absolutely. Well, who do you have to thank for this amazing second place run you put on today after an eventful Wilkesboro race?
Yeah, I'm tired after this one, so I should probably be thanking Gatorade because I'm going to need one of those after racing 2 races in a row. But thank you to you guys for an awesome broadcast. I can't wait to go back and watch it tomorrow and see all my blunders and everything else. Thank you to Tyler and his whole team for putting this on and letting me be a part of it. The whole Maconi Setup Shop team is more than happy to be on board with this league and numerous others. It's a ton of fun racing with them every single Friday night, though. So huge props to them, all the league sponsors and everything else. Power Crunch off the top of my head and 4X Graphics, man. It was a ton of fun out there tonight.
Right on. Well, congratulations on your second place finish here today, and best of luck to you the rest of the season.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good night, guys.
And that's Jeffrey Maconi finishing second place this evening. We're going to take a shot in the dark, actually. We're going to move this guy up, and I believe this is Pete Polini. Pete, do you have a copy?
Hey, I'm with you.
Hey, Pete. Man, now, what a race. 61 laps led. Can you believe it here at North Wilkesboro?
Oh, it was unbelievable. Jeff and I were just talking there in the waiting room how much fun that was. And how we both wished we had another, 100 laps really, but another 5 or 6 laps there to really battle it out at the end, because that was going to be a really good fight. But fortunately, I was able to keep the tires under it all night and stay up front and out of trouble and save some for the end when I needed it.
It was a great race, but there were a lot of halts in our progress this evening, and a lot of different drivers that you had to fend off. I talked about that specifically, how you had to not just fend off 1 or 2 drivers in the way they wanted to pass, but just a slew of drivers and their different moves trying to get on by you. What was it like trying to learn each driver in your mirror and hang on to that race lead through each of those restarts?
It was intense. Let's just say that, because I never really got any breathing room. I was hoping to get that maybe 8-second, to a second or 8/10 lead where I could just kind of cruise and just manage the gap. But I never really could get there. So it was definitely a lot of fun. A little on the defensive side there for a lot of it, just keeping an eye where guys were running, trying to get a feel for where they were braking and stuff to kind of change up my line a little bit to maintain my momentum and keep them from gaining theirs. So just smooth driving and trying to stay out of trouble, really.
So, Pete, it was an interesting outing last week at Sobo. A lot of cautions to drive through there as well. But really, the racing hasn't suffered with these cautions the last couple of weeks. How do you guys as drivers try and learn each one another through these couple of weeks and only getting these spurts, it seems like, a green flag racing, and then suddenly you're thrown at the wolves, you have these longer green runs towards the middle and end, and then you get grouped right back up trying to, I guess, change game plans all at once?
Part of the game there too is, as the race changes, you got to adapt, or you're going to be overcome. But along with that same kind of thing, just being able to race with these guys a little bit does help. When you get a league like this, you're going to have a few guys with this many drivers that are going to have more issues than others, and weeding them out a little bit and eliminating those problems by either penalties or talking to or whatever. I think as we see the season progress, we're going to see more and more green flag runs, and it's just going to be a really fun league to be in with all the really good drivers that are in it.
Absolutely. I think that's how the Summer Tour went as well. I mean, there were some rocky starts and there were absolutely some rocky races, but great racing through and through. Looking forward, I actually forget where we're going next week. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But looking forward to week 3. You don't run the Legends
wherever
race.
it is.
Yeah, you don't run the Legends races here, so you just have the super late models to worry about, whereas these guys get a little bit of extra practice at each racetrack. How is it trying to battle through that as well, or some of these guys might be a little bit warmed up? Are you practicing while they're racing their Legends race?
Not really. Hate to sound that way, but in a way, I hear a lot of the guys that were talking about it too. They get done with the Legends race and they jump in here and they say it takes them, longer than they think it should to readjust back to this car. So yeah, there's never any substitute for seat time, but at the same time, when you're kind of just focusing on one thing, you can focus on that particular thing, and I think it just makes it a little bit better. And North Wilkesboro, is one of my favorite tracks too. I usually run fairly well here, so it was nice to be able to come out and showcase that a little bit too.
Absolutely. Now, I looked at the schedule real quick, and it is the Bull Ring next week, and These
nice.
last couple of races have felt like a bull ring race. How do you feel about Las Vegas's bull ring next time out?
Let's go out there and make it a real one. It's going to be a fight, but that is a fun place. I'm a real fan of the true short track. You know, the little tiny places like that one, and you know, Lanier or Langley or Oxford. All those places are always a lot of fun. You know, the challenge part of it too. It's a little bit tougher drive. It's not your typical, you know, drive on an oval where you can just mat the throttle and go. You got to really work it a lot harder. And the driver's type of tracks, I guess, is what I'm after.
Absolutely. Now, Pete, before we let you go, again, congratulations this evening. 61 laps led out of 75 is pretty impressive in any race, but especially this one as well. We had so many stoppages, so many drivers to fend off. Who do you have to thank for supporting you in this big win?
Definitely got to give a shout out to Ryko Motorsports there. Casey Foote gives us a nice looking car to run with and great products to run every week. My teammate there, Daniel, him and I work very well together, so we've progressed a lot just working together as drivers. Racer X Elite. There's one more Kicking Asphalt guys, and Martin Sports Apparel.
All right, Pete, thanks for your time. We'll see you next week, I'm sure, at Las Vegas. Best of luck out there.
Hey, thanks again. I appreciate the broadcast. Can't wait to go back and watch it on the Pit Stop TV there. And looking forward. Hopefully we'll be chatting with you again next week.
That's Pete Pelini with our logo on the deck lid, and I'll appreciate his support there and appreciate his time. You know what? Let's go ahead. We weren't going to do the top three in either race, but we'll go ahead. We'll grab Robert Warrens just because he's there. Emerson, go ahead and grab him.
Right on. Robert Warrens, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, so a podium finish for you tonight. Walk us through that race.
It was a pretty interesting race. We did some homework, like I said, last week, so we got out and we did some practice. Super happy about that. The setup was actually stable at that track temperature, so Jeff Maconi and his setup shop there did a great job of putting that together. Early on, we just paced out. The top five were just taking it easy up front, and we saved our stuff right until the end.
Oh, I have to say, it did not look like y'all were taking it easy. At least from our point of view, I believe you were side by side for a good chunk of the race with, I believe, Poland and then Hindre. How was it side by side and racing that hard up front?
Those two guys are great to run beside. They give you lots of room, lots of space on the track, and North Wilkesboro gives you that room to have that type of racing. So no concern whether I was on the inside or outside of either one of those guys. They're nice, clean racers, and like I said, Fall Brawl's got some of the best drivers, so I have no fear running door to door with anyone.
All right. So Pete Pelini got some amazing jumps on those restarts. Was there anything different you could have done to maybe stick with him on those final restarts?
Yeah, I tried to map it out. I started in second, started in third, but yeah, he must have a doctorate in starting, but I couldn't do much more.
Right on. You have anybody to thank for your third place run tonight?
No, just a shout out to my brother and I. Like we've worked hard together to get some practice in, so we're not running the tail end, and we've been having a great time doing this. And shout out to the guys that are running Fall Brawl, and to you guys that are putting on the broadcast. I'm watching the Legends race again, and once again, you guys captured a great event, and I'm going to come back and watch the super late model race. I'm sure you got all the highlights.
Right on. Well, congratulations on your big third place finish here tonight. Best of luck to you next week at the Bull Ring. And yeah.
Yep. Take care, guys.
And that is Robert Warrens finishing third place this evening. Emerson, we were certainly treated to a show across both races, the Legends and Super Late Models, and it is tough. I will say. I'm just going to be open about the yellows and the incidents and such. It's tough sometimes to work through those and stay excited, but when they give you the racing we had, my gosh, it brings you right back in as a commentator. It's easy to stick with that kind of racing. These guys really do put on a show as long as they're headed in the right direction. It's just that sometimes you got to weed those issues out where you're just trying to get into a string of green flag laps, and I think that's the only holdup here. There were some holdups last season in the summer tour where sometimes it was this or that, but I think the only holdup is just trying to get some green flag laps down sometimes, because I think everybody can agree the racing, once they get going, is flat out amazing. It's hard to beat when these guys are racing side by side like that. It's so exciting to watch, be it in the Legends or Super Late models. It's just a matter of staying green flag. Before we close this thing out, Emerson, take us through the top 10 this evening.
Right, of course, a huge congratulations to Pete Pellini on that amazing win. Jeff Maconi comes on second, Robert Warren's third, Daniel Hindre fourth, Jeffrey Wallace fifth. We have Wes Shiflett in P6, Ryan Joyner seventh, Dennis Warren's eighth, JJ Jensen comes on P9, and Tyler Payne 10th.
Finishing 11th is going to be David Polans. We talked about his incident with Ryan Joyner down the front stretch. Joseph Ralph in 12th. Eric Steele in 13th. Matthew Moniak 14th. Travis Hofler 15th. Jason Walker 16th. In 17th, it's Gregory Moon. Then it's Matthew Kopp in 18th position. The 88 of Jeffrey Eddy finishes 19th. Kevin Blackburn in 20th. The back end of the field going to be Chris Perry, Kyle Fowler, Luke Brown, Steve Mullins, and Mackenzie Galajda. Harold Ralph, our last finisher, 50 laps down after a green-white checkered. You see Matthew Lee on there, where we thank him for his effort as race control this evening, but he was not in the race. Emerson, again, what a show we were treated to this evening. It's certainly great racing. We just got to keep it such, racing as opposed to pacing. We do want to thank our partners out there this evening. I want to start off with the Maconi Setup Shop. We don't have a plug or anything for them, but Maconi really treats us well here at Pit Stop TV, whether it's through the Maconi Setup Shop, Fall Brawl, Summer Tour, what have you. He has been a great partner for us to work with, and I look forward to many, many months ahead working with Jeffrey Maconi and company. We also want to thank our series sponsor, Power Crunch Pro. The Maconi Setup Shop Fall Brawl is fueled by Power Crunch Pro, the iconic cream-filled wafer protein energy bar with 20 grams of protein. This is protein reimagined. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, massive thank you to Sound Art of Tucson. I'm going to be playing some tunes over my device from them here in just a little while. It hangs on your wall because it is a picture of any moment in your life that you want to forever remember, and I'm so glad that I now can say that I have one, because it's so cool, super cool to have up on my wall and play some music through. I mean, genuinely, I think the coolest thing I own, and I'm not saying that to hype up Sound Art of Tucson. I'm saying that because it's really, really cool. So definitely thank you to Robert Pattengale and company at Sound Art of Tucson Sound Art, whichever one it may be at the point in time. Thank you to them for hooking us up with that and partnering with Pit Stop TV here. Just, I can't thank them enough. I also want to thank Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, another great partner for us at Pit Stop TV, always backing us up. And quite simply, if you care about your appearance, you should back them up as well. Go see Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine for your permanent makeup and cryo fitness, or I think it's fitness concerns. Regardless, at Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, the owner, Ashley Boyer, is a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe and personalized services, rather. You can contact Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine at permanentmakeupinmaine.com, or call or text them at 207-358-8683. If you're looking for the best solutions for your permanent makeup concerns, give them a call today to book a consultation. And you can also visit their Facebook page, enter a monthly giveaway. You just might win. I mean, it's free to do so. You may as well, because you might win free stuff. We also got to thank, of course, Whiplash Media, Pit Stop TV's new parent organization that specializes in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing, camera packs, and more. Whiplash Media is also working on its presence in racing, offering services such as photography, social media management, and public relations. Go to whiplash-media.com for more information. That will do it on a great night of racing here at North Wilkesboro for the Maconi Setup Shop Fall Brawl. We at Pit Stop TV thank you for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed this evening's broadcast. Be sure to join us again Monday evening for the opening round of the Northwest GT3 Challenge, coming to you from Barcelona, Spain, and again on Wednesday as the Bluegrass iRacing Series resumes at Bristol Motor Speedway. Make sure to follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/pitstoptv, over on Twitter at pitstoptv_, on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/pit_stop_tv, and on YouTube by going to youtube.com/c/pitstoptv1. For Pit Stop TV, this has been Emerson Ardon with me in the booth this evening. Noah Carmichael doing a great job behind the scenes on social media coverage. I am Andrew Cardinale IV, and we will see you next time. Have a wonderful evening.